I started out as a BCS student at AUT a little over 15 years ago. Majored in radio, was interested in radio, and I started working in the radio industry soon after. Worked in talkback radio as a producer, and I ended up having my own music show on a New Zealand music station at that time as well. So my experience as a producer and an announcer in the New Zealand radio industry becomes a really important part of how I train and prepare students to work in real world situations, to operate a radio studio, to think about their performance on air, to think about how they make content for a radio broadcast situation. One of the great things about studying communication studies at AUT is that you can get straight into work integrated learning. We have real radio stations, real multicam television studios, a real newsroom, a real PR agency. And each of those sort of facilities is pretty special in its own right, because you get to practice the real world skills that you'll apply if you were to work in one of those media industries. Beyond that, we also like to connect students with real world clients, and often non-governmental or sort of community-based organisations, real stakeholders that can help students to think about identifying, challenging, tackling the problems that a communications professional might face. AUT's Communication Studies alumni are throughout the sort of industries where you might expect to find them. We have alumni who are fronting breakfast television programs. We have alumni writing for major news websites and major news services. Some of our alumni are leading advertising creatives who have led successful campaigns for the advertising industry. But our graduates can also end up in places that they might not expect to find themselves. We have alumni that are leading senior roles in professional rugby clubs. We have one alumni who went from being a senior sort of operator in an Australian commercial radio network who now works for TikTok. And we've even had a graduate end up in New Zealand's delegation at the UN Security Council. So communication skills are really universally relevant, and they extend well beyond a sort of a fixed group of industries or practices, and our alumni are making the most of that opportunity and extending themselves far and wide.